Well, shalom, fellow worship warriors. Thank you for joining me here today. We're going to do something different. It's testimony time. So, a lot of people ask us questions about how we ended up becoming Torah observant. Sometimes they even call us messianic. Why did we start celebrating the biblical feasts like Passover? And, of course, since Passover is coming up, I figured, well, why not put up a little bit of a testimony and tell the world how it all started for us and how we ended up on this Torah observant journey. So I'm not perfectly put together like I would like. My hair is a little bit messy. I'm not liking the look of it, but I have been meaning to do this video in forever. And I just recently learned that I am just too much of a perfectionist. So I'm going to get this done anyway, and I'm not going to worry about being perfect. I don't know if all of you struggle with the same thing, but I certainly do. So here we go. My boys are currently outside getting all wet and muddy. Okay. We actually started our walk in Torah observance 10 years ago now. We started out like many others, which was in the Christian church. In fact, we still would consider ourselves Christian, although honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, we do not claim any religion or denomination. We simply like to tell people that we do whatever the word says to do. We study it out as best as we can. We understand at this point that we are on different maturity levels. So there are some who have been in the faith and they're much younger than us. There's a reason Father says that we are to be born again, because we literally become like newborns, and from there we grow. And there are different stages and different maturity levels we go through, just like children in a family. So you have the littlest one, then you have the next one who's a little bit older, and then you have the one who's a little bit older and a little bit older than that. And of course, the baby is extremely immature. The toddler gets into everything, right? So if you compare that to everyone's walk, a lot of people in the Torah observant community and the Messianic denomination will claim that the Christians are all wrong and they're just pagans. No, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. What I see them as are our little brothers and sisters, and they need us to help nurture and nourish them. We can't be shoving meat down the throat of a baby or even a toddler. So anyway, that was kind of a side tangent. So we had been in the Christian church for many years. I was actually saved when I was 15, and my husband was saved when he was 12. But of course, we were immature. We didn't fully understand God's word. And as time went on, I began to question things. There were some things that we went through. Travis ended up going to Iraq. I was 5 months pregnant when I found out that he was going to be going. And it kind of stirred things up for me. It was very hard for me to deal with. During that time when he was gone, of course, I was all by myself with this brand new baby. And it was pretty earth-shattering for me, and I was very afraid of losing him and being a single mom, which honestly was one of my biggest fears. And as a result of that, I clung to the Father for my hope and my faith and my trust. And during that season, I began to ask a lot of questions. And the only place I knew to go to was to my Father himself, but also to the Word. So I began devouring the Word. It just took on a whole new meaning for me. I was hungry. And so I just dove right into the Word. And there were so many things in there that were questionable that I just didn't understand. Like, why is it that we believe in the 10 Commandments, except for the one, when it comes to the Sabbath? Why don't we do the Sabbath? Like, what's wrong with continuing to do it? And when is the Sabbath supposed to be? It sounds like it's pretty simple. Every 7 days is when you observe the Sabbath. And so I started studying that sort of thing. I also started seeing all these things about the feasts, Passover. Why don't we do Passover? I mean, it says forever. That one word, forever, would haunt me. It says forever. It doesn't make any sense to me that, Yeshua would come and then all of a sudden, oh no, that's null and void. We don't have to do that anymore because it says forever. Forever. Not only that, but I also started to realize that Yeshua actually observed these feasts himself. And there are multiple times we're told that we need to follow his example. Do what he does. Become his disciples. When you're a disciple of somebody, you do what that person does. What your teacher does, you do. You don't just listen to the words, you actually do it. And so if he was observing these things, then why aren't we? These were just questions that were running through my head during that time. And Father just really started to open my mind. He really started to speak to me. There were some things that he told me that were in complete contradiction to what I had heard behind the pulpit. And they were kind of hard. They were really hard for me to really grasp, because on the one hand, I'm thinking, this is amazing that my Lord and Savior is speaking to me, but at the same time, am I really hearing him correctly? So I would kind of file it at the back of my head and not put too much stock into it. I just waited for him to bring me confirmation. And so that was the start of it. And then Travis came back home. There were some interesting adjustments we had to go through. He also had his own questions. And then he entered back into a contract with the military, and he changed his, it's called an MOS, his military occupation specialty. He changed that. And so he had to go through this whole new training, which made us bounce around a few times. Then we finally settled down in Washington because they moved us to our first duty station as his new MOS. And it's interesting because I actually knew, even though we had requested 3 different places, I knew they were going to send us to Washington. And sure enough, that's where they sent us. And so there we were in this big city in Tacoma. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it there. We found a new church to go to, but by then I had been so tired of many of the lies. Not that they were telling lies on purpose per se. I think some people do, but I don't think, I think the vast majority of Christians just don't know because they have been lied to and they've believed these lies, and therefore they turn around and they tell these lies thinking that they're the truth. So I don't see them as our enemies or anything. I don't see them as doing that on purpose at all. So, however, because my eyes had become so open, I was really tired of that. And I was frustrated because I couldn't relate to anybody anymore in the church. And I just was like crying out to Father, like, there's got to be someplace I can go to where the stuff in the Word will make sense and where I can actually do without fear of judgment. I can actually do the feasts, and there's got to be somebody I can connect with. So I cried out to our Father and I said, can you help me? Can you help me find something? And he put my aunt on my heart, who has been pretty instrumental in my life in many ways at many different times. And I was like, okay, why would you want me to call her? Because I only knew at that time that she was, of the same mindset as every other Christian. But it was such a nagging thought in my head. I was like, okay, I'm just going to call her and get this over with. So I did. I called her and I told her my frustrations. And she was like, I know exactly what you mean. You need to search out a Messianic congregation. Once you sit at the feet of the rabbis, everything will make sense. Everything. They're like our older brothers. And I was like, rabbis, okay, well, okay. But while I was talking to her, I just knew that's what I needed. That's where I was going to find the answers. So I immediately got online and I searched out Messianic congregations. I found 3 in our area, which really surprised me. I thought it was going to be hard to find because she had mentioned that they're very far and few between. They're not very easy to find. Sometimes you have to drive for hours in order to make it to one. But there were 3 in our area. And so I talked a little bit about it to Travis, and he was totally on board. He actually had never heard of a Messianic congregation. He was really surprised that there was such a thing as Jews who believed in Jesus. And so we looked through all the different faith statements, and we settled on one. And I was like really afraid, honestly. I was really afraid to go because I had heard so many stories of where Gentiles had been turned away by the Jews because they're not allowed in their synagogues or something. So I didn't want to end up showing up and completely embarrassing myself. So I called, and the rabbi actually answered, and I asked him, I said, is it okay for someone who's not of Jewish descent to come to your congregation? And he said, oh, yeah, we accept whoever. It's not about the blood. It's about the relationship with our Father. I was like, okay. So we went that very next weekend, and it was like my mind was exploding the whole time. It was like I hadn't had a meal my entire life, and suddenly I had this great big nourishing meal right in front of me, and I was just like gorging myself on all this information. It was super exciting. It was very fulfilling. Well, it just happened to turn out that 2 weeks from that Shabbat was when Passover was. And I was like, wait, what? I knew you guys did the Sabbath, but I didn't realize that any of these congregations would actually do the holy days. And they said, oh yeah, we do them all. There's 7 of them, actually. And so I was extremely excited. I was going to get to celebrate my very first Passover, and it was in 2 weeks. So we immediately signed up for that. And it was just so exciting to learn so many new things that, and they weren't really new. There were things that Father had shown me in his word. I just hadn't gotten confirmation about it. And I hadn't found anyone who had understood it the way that he explained it to me. And then some, really. There was a lot more information that we were taught that I hadn't known of and I didn't fully understand. So we celebrated our very first Passover, and it was just wonderful. And we never looked back. From that point on, we never looked back. We stayed at that same congregation for 9 years, and we learned about all the high holy days. Actually, it was a pretty difficult transition. It took an entire year to really get comfortable with this new lifestyle because it is so different. I mean, it is a lifestyle. You are changing many things about yourself. Instead of going to church on Sunday, you would go on Saturday, although they call it synagogue. You would be observing the Sabbath, and the high holy days are also a Sabbath. They're called high Sabbaths. And so it was quite an adjustment, not just mentally, but also in many ways physically. So yeah, that was our journey to observing Passover, and we still absolutely love it. So for those 9 years, we always did a Passover with a congregation, but starting last year, we began doing home seders, which we certainly love. It's much more intimate. It's way more relaxed. Honestly, either way, I think is great as long as you do it. So that concludes this video, and in honor of Passover, what I have been working on lately, which is why I haven't been on here doing videos or anything. It's because I have been busy bee getting ready for Passover and working on some projects I feel that Father has really inspired me to do. One of those projects are children's worship flags. So let me show you what we've got here. We have a set of 5 flags for the kids. We felt it was really important for them to be involved in worship. Obviously, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. Worship is so important for our children to be involved in from little. I can remember when I was pregnant with Judah, he's our baby, I could actually feel him dancing. I could feel him tapping his foot to the beat of the music whenever I would get up and dance with him, and when he was still in my belly. And so I really believe it starts there. But when they are, old enough to run around and start worshiping on their own, We definitely should not push them away. Now, I'm guilty of doing this with my older two. I was too harsh with them, and I had too many expectations as far as, like I told you in the beginning of the video, I am too much of a perfectionist. And as a result of that, my older two children are not really interested in getting up and worshiping in any form like I do, which is it really hurts me. It's my fault, though. It's my fault. And so I felt that, first of all, our Father gave me this inspiration to do this. And I feel like by pouring myself into this project, I am, in a way, repenting for what I have done with my older two children, all the mistakes that I have made, but also putting it out there for others and reminding them, hey, let your children worship with you. Whenever we're teaching them dance in flags, I would like to have these available for the children as well, so that they also can get involved, because they're going to see us with the flags and they're going to want to get involved. They're going to want to practice. So here we go. We have flags for the children. These are double layered flags. We have purple, red, blue, gold with a layer of purple over the top, and silver with a layer of purple over the top of that. Now, the reason we have these colors is obviously they are our signature colors, although they are not our signature colors, to be honest. They belong to our Father, because these are the tabernacle colors. And so there's a story in that as well, which is for a different day. Don't have enough time for that, but I wanted to show this to you because we are currently doing a giveaway. So if you would like to receive one of these flags along with a rod that goes with it for free, all you would have to pay for is the shipping. Unless you live close to me, then I'll simply hand it over to you. Then what you need to do, which I will have linked below, I will have the posts linked below to both Facebook and Instagram. Follow the directions on those posts and you will be entered into this giveaway that will expire in the evening on Monday. We will announce the winner on Tuesday. That's let me look at this real quick. Tuesday the 16th. So we will announce the winner. You get to choose one of these colors and you'll get it for free. Now, here's something cool I wanted to show you. You see this? It opens up. So these flags are interchangeable. You can have one rod and multiple flags, multiple colors. I will also have linked below the listing that goes along with it. We actually have two, one girls edition, one boys edition. Oh, and we actually have three. So if you want all 5 of them, you actually get a insane discount if you buy all 5 with 2 rods. It comes with 2 rods. Instead of buying them individually, it's a lot more expensive. If you buy them individually, you would actually end up paying $150. But instead, it's $87.95. Please forgive me if I misquoted. It's $87.95 for the full set of 5 plus 2 rods. I'll have that linked below. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And get on over there and enter that giveaway. It's only for the weekend until Monday night. Talk to you later. Shalom, everybody. We love you.